Hello, Factorio people. Fenton here with Factorio OVEREXPLAINED, episode 20. I expanded the base, as I said I would, between sessions by just adding the copper, finishing off the copper. What's this? Disgusting. Finishing off the copper, and I also added just a small little section here for electronic circuits. This is the same build as this, 3 to 2, but just ever so slightly spushed together because we've got the bigger power pole, the better power poles. We don't need a gap in between each copper wire factory. And then because, as we know, the inserter's output on the outside, illustration, hello, on the outside, then you can double this up. You don't have to worry about balancing it so much, even though you should balance it, just it's good practice. And I'll talk about taking stuff off the bus later, if there's time, because what I actually want to talk about is power. I moved the power supply because this coal is just not fit for purpose anymore. The iron is basically dead. The coal is only going to be working on whatever iron is left here. I want this iron supply to actually come this way and go here to make steel, which I've already labelled here using the map tags, as we know all about. Doing all of this work caused a massive problem with the power. As you can see here, everything just dropped off once the power ran out. Took me a little while. So there's the power running out. Here's the massive spike where all the roboports needed to fully charge before anything else could happen. And then there's everything sort of balancing out, and now we're fine again. So electric mining drills. This will be as the train comes and picks up iron, I believe. As this operation has to happen, then suddenly all of these mining drills have to kick into gear. Yeah, that makes sense. And then when the chests get full and all these miners stop. So I added this. I took the water from here because I still haven't added the water fill mod. And I'm running the water up here, and I have now 3 rows of steam turbines, which can make 108 megawatts. But what I want to do is I want to do solar panels. So I've taken all of the solar panels and the accumulators from this, which we bunged in a little while ago, and that's going to continue to drain everything here. Once stuff starts running out in this factory, I'm just not replacing it, basically. We just have to find a way to integrate it back into the main base, into the bus base. Right. And I also added 2 grid sections here, probably for solar panels. I don't know if I'll use this uranium ore. It's in a pretty convenient spot, to be honest with you. But it's also right inside the grid squares, which is not ideal. And 1.1 millim uranium ore will last forever, so... I mean, not literally, of course. Anyway, solar panels. Right. I've got substations now. Let me just bung a substation down to show you. They have a wire reach of 18, and they also have a supply area of 18 by 18, so they are very nice for just tiling. You know what, I'm going to do this not in a grid square, because the wires that connect to the pylons are going to be annoying. There you go. They have a wire reach of 18, and a supply area of 18 squared, so they actually tile perfectly. You can perfectly tile any amount of area with substations, and as such they are ideal for solar panel grids and whatnot. Turn my roboports off for some reason. Solar panels. They're 4x4. They're 3x3. They're 3x3, and they collect energy during the day I turned off my Afraid of the Dark mod, so you may notice that it gets slightly darker at night now, which I wanted to do just to make it more obvious when it was nighttime for the purposes of this demonstration. We're going to need something to make power. Let's make a little nothing machine, shall we? Can't remember how to make a little nothing machine. I need some water and some barrels. Six barrels. And then just very quickly tell this machine to fill some water barrels. There we go, 6 water barrels. And there, I mean, lights would also be a nothing machine, but they don't use enough power. Barrel water, unbarrel water. There you go. This works forever. This machine barrels the water, this machine unbarrels the water, and the water goes through the pipe back into the output of unbarreling goes into the input of barreling, and then the arms move it around. So this solar panel is making 60 kilowatts. And you'll have to forgive me, I don't know anything about electricity. A watt is a joule per second, isn't it? I don't know. So one can make 60, and then as the day darkens off, it will taper off until it hits 0 when it's completely dark, and then come back up again in the morning. A day is 25,000 ticks. 25000, and a tick is 60 ticks per second. So that is, calculators out, folks, 416, repeating, of course, seconds, which is perilously close to 420 seconds, I realise. So you're looking at about 7 minutes. About 7 minutes for a full day-night cycle. So we can see here that the power supply of the solar panel is dropping as it starts to get dark, which you can hopefully see. All the lights start to come on because it's getting dark now, which would be something that you probably wouldn't have noticed before with the Afraid of the Dark mod on. I believe in the code, like, things generate light, and then if the surface darkness is a certain value, then the lights come on. But I don't know exactly, and it's not really relevant. But sometimes you'll notice that certain lights come on earlier than others, and much like real life, I guess. Whoa, this doesn't have a power supply. In fact, this is not even finished. I didn't finish this. What an idiot. Right, I'll go and finish that later. And then, oh my god, the solar panel is mere kilowatts now, and everything's grinding to a halt because it doesn't have power. There we go, out of power. So solar panels, good during the day, free electricity, they're relatively cheap. 15 iron plates, 27.5 copper plates, 5 steel plates, and a steel plate is of course 5 iron plates, so you know, a modest chunk, but for free electricity forever, it's very good. Obviously now you've got the problem of how do you keep the solar panels running overnight. You could just build solar panels, and then at night your fossil pollution comes in. The game prioritizes certain kinds of power over others, and I believe it just prioritizes clean energy, quote unquote clean energy. So your solar panels will always be running at 100% during the day, and as they taper off and they're no longer providing enough electricity, your burner power supply will come in. So, things are kicking off again. It's coming up to daytime. So you can see here the production of the solar panel tapered off, nighttime, a bit of nighttime, and then some day. Of course, it's not very long, 7 minutes, so your night times don't last a huge amount. But what with, you know, it tapering off and then having to get back to full strength, like this is night. This is all of the night time. So yeah, you can use accumulators to store that energy. And accumulators don't have to be paired with solar panels. You can use accumulators in any electricity network, energy network. And the way accumulators work is that now we can finally use this part of the graph. One accumulator can store 5 megajoules, and it gets charged. Just think of it like a big battery. Stores a limited amount of energy when available. Well, it stores a limited amount of energy when available production exceeds demands, and releases it in the opposite case. So our solar panel is back up to full use, but that's not enough power to actually supply everything here. So let's just keep bunging solar panels down until our accumulator starts charging. So now on the network, our satisfaction is always going to be the maximum, because it's also trying to charge this accumulator, but the the consumption is going into the assembly machines, into the fast inserter, and then anything that's left from that solar panel production is being absorbed by the accumulator. And these spikes here are just because obviously the inserters are working slower than this machine can actually do things, so it's not consistent energy use. Let's just keep bunging solar panels down, shall we, to speed this process up a bit. Excellent, excellent placement there. Alright, so then once the accumulator hits full, the satisfaction will drop right down. The satisfaction will drop right down? No? Okay, it's just because every solar panel still has to work to do this. Right, so the production, it did dip slightly. It did dip slightly. Now they're only working for the assembly machine and the fast inserter. So then, if we got rid of some of these solar panels to the point where there wasn't enough energy being used by... There wasn't enough energy being generated by just that, we will see the accumulator kick into gear. There it goes. So now it's saying, oh, Christ, there's not quite enough electric being produced. Discharge the accumulators. This is funny, this is actually working like exactly at parity. If we get rid of another one, there we go, we can see it start to tick down. The production now is on the accumulator, picking up the difference. And obviously I could have waited for night time to show that off, but that would be like another 7 minutes away, because we just came to daytime. So now the question is, what's the ratio here? How many solar panels can charge how many accumulators in a nice round number? Yeah, you could just bung solar panels and accumulators down, of course you could. Especially if you want your accumulators to run through the night. And there is a lot of complicated math here to do with joules and watts and ticks and stuff. So the ever popular Factorio cheat sheet will tell you that it is 24 of these for 20 of these. 24 and 20, and that is for every 1 megawatt that you want to supply. 24 solar panels will fully charge 20 accumulators to run overnight. And you will need 20 accumulators for every megawatt that your factory has or is capable of consuming. That's quite a lot. Currently we're only using 22, but as we could see here from the massive power spike that we got when all of our roboports needed charging, 86 megawatts just for that. I mean, I wish this chart would stack, to be honest with you, because like that was just 86 megawatts for that. 15 for the electric mining drills, you know, radars are quite power hungry, 6.3 megawatts just for the radars to be running. So 20 to 24 solar panels to accumulators. And let me just absolutely 100% double check. 24, yeah, 20 accumulators to solar panels. So that is what I said, isn't it? 24 of these for 20 of these. It's just that the ratio is written down the other way here on the wiki. The optimal ratio actually says 21 to 25. So that's also something to bear in mind. You'd have 25 to 21 or 24 to 20. I believe obviously is this number goes up if you did, what would it be, 100 to 120. This is slightly more inaccurate now. If you times this by 5, this is slightly more inaccurate. If you times this by 5, you get 125 to 100 and... whoops, 105. This is slightly more accurate. Green tick. So as the numbers go up, you want to be trying to do more of a 0.84, basically, is the point. And that's only if you want perfect ratios, which, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, it's not hugely important. I believe I have a blueprint. I probably should have checked this before I started recording. Ha ha ha. Classic. So this is on a grid square. I'd have to delete the pylons inside, but you can see here on the thing it is 664 solar panels and 552 accumulators. So 552 divided by 664 is 0.83. I just bung this together. Like, I probably could tweak it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in here and remove all of the pylons from the blueprint by right-clicking it, as we explored last time, just so that... because the pylons will be there anyway. And then in theory, that should just plop down. No, because my grid section is... put the lights in the wrong place. Alright, okay, that's fine, we can fix that. My city block design has gone over a few iterations, and I think at one point, so you can see here at one point I was putting the lights there. Alright, let's get rid of the lights as well then. And see if the other things at least line up. The roboports line up. Why does the concrete not line up? What is wrong with me? What did I do with my city block that was so incorrect before? And the radar's in the wrong place. Okay. Alright, well, fine. Screw that. It doesn't matter. We have enough power for now. And I'll do a proper city block solar panel design. You just don't want to see me spend forever putting it down. So it basically just, you know, put down a whole bunch of solar panels, tile the solar panels in the thing. Whoops. Tile the solar panels. So obviously with this city block they just about go, and then you've got, whoops, enough space in the middle one to do a row of accumulators as well. And just fill this out. What with rotating, and because the city blocks are symmetrical and they have rotational symmetry as well, you can just do 1/4 and then bung it in, and then do your math so that... why is that not right? Oh, it is. Just do your math properly. That's if you want to fill a whole city block with solar panels. Like, there's nothing saying that you can't just do, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 25 to 21 like this, and just, you know, bung substation in somewhere so it's all powered, and then just, you know, and then just tile that anywhere you want. Or even just, oh no, this is in my logistics network and the construction robots are going to come and get it. No, don't. Obviously, of course, the benefit of having them in a city block is that you can save that as a blueprint and then go, oh, I need more power, and just bung another one, like here. And then suddenly it's sorted. You've got a lot of solar panels done. I'm annoyed with myself that I didn't set a correct blueprint up for that. Do I have one somewhere else? I must do, right? Factorio won't be in there. My transport drones, no. Oh, this is an interesting one. This seems to power a radar overnight as well. It's just enough. Because a radar uses 300 kilowatts, so yeah, one block of that, 25 to 20 accumulators for each megawatt is enough to power that radar. So you could use this design to just put radar outposts down, which is kind of useful. It can be useful. If you don't want to be bothering going around and exploring, you can just bung a radar like here, and it will at least show you everything here. And you could leave it scanning forever, basically, at that point. This is also an interesting way of doing solar panels early, when you've got just medium power poles. This is 65 to 64, so it's not a ratio, but it is 100% tileable. You can see it's using all the space because the solar panels are 3x3 and the accumulators are 2x2, and you need space for medium electric poles. This does tile quite nicely. It's not perfect ratio is the only problem with that, but again, that's not a massive disaster. The reason that you want perfect ratio if you're a pro Factorio player is that the way solar panels work is that they are just one large entity. It just calculates all of the solar panels every tick just as one big thing. It just goes, oh right, 60 kilowatts times however many solar panels are in the map. And that is obviously much more efficient from a computational standpoint than all of this going on here. Like, does this have water? Does this have coal? How hot is the water now? Does this have the steam? Where's the steam going in the pipe? You know, like having huge arrays of this. And nuclear power is just a fancy version of this. You're just using uranium to heat the water instead. At the very, 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 very high-end megabase levels, you would be using exclusively solar panels, because otherwise your updates per second are going to suffer and your game's going to slow to a crawl a lot earlier than it would do otherwise if you were using nuclear power over solar power. So I'll do that off camera. Again, there's going to be more and more happening off camera now once I get set up, because we know how steel works. I just need to do it, and I'll set it up as part of showing you how it's some advanced train stuff, where I'll probably be putting 2 iron trains coming in and some more advanced unloading, because like the unloading here is very simple. But you know, I'll probably tap this iron, and this iron is 4 million, and I'll bring both trains in on one line, and then I can show you, because we've not put any train signals down yet. The 2 trains that we've got are they just have full control over. They don't need signals. They just go when they're ready, and they stop when they need to stop. Okay. So, how long did that take me to talk about solar panels? About 25 minutes. Let's talk about the bus, shall we? Let's talk about the bus. Now that we've got big boy lanes, big lad lanes of stuff going on. Oh, I think I let my tea go cold. We need to talk about how we actually move the stuff off of the bus in a way that makes sense. So you've got 4 lanes of iron. You use a splitter to take some of that iron off to go this way into the build. That means, that means that the iron that continues to move on here, this lane is not going to be full all of the time. Once you start pulling iron off to make green circuits, this lane is going to have iron missing from it, which means that you then can't really, ideally, use this top lane to pull iron off this way. And yes, I know I'm saying pulling off a lot, very funny, because this lane is now not compressed, so you use the second lane. And especially as your builds get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm just going to quickly use the rate calculator here just for some cheeky math. Transport belts. This side is using 0.9 of a belt, so basically the whole belt. And it's using just over half a belt of iron going this way, so we definitely couldn't supply both sides with 1 lane of iron. And we definitely need 2 lanes of copper coming in as well. So then that begs the question, why even continue to move the copper down the bus? Why not just do this and say, right, this lane of copper is now just spent? And that is a good point. And that certainly will be the way it goes moving forwards. But for now, I'm not going to be consuming a whole belt of electronic circuits. So there will be that I would rather have a splitter make the decision to send stuff this way and this way equally, but then once my electronic circuits are backed up, then I want more copper to come down. Also, now, at this point, if everything was running at full capacity, this lane of iron and this lane of iron are not going to be as compressed as these two, which haven't had anything taken off them at all. So what tends to be good practice is, after you've done your stuff in that grid section, is to put a balancer in at the end. The other thing you could do is you could do lots of stuff with splitters. So just for example, because you can do priority on splitters as well, rather than doing what I've done up here, which is to take off the top lane and then not have the top lane go into the splitter. So this splitter is exclusively pulling from the top, and this one is exclusively pulling from the second lane. And then this one, like this, you know, it's the same principle, would be exclusively pulling from the third lane. But still everything able to move on if it needed to. This is still 4 lanes. That's a bit ugly, don't do it like that. You could use the splitters to say to move everything up the bus, or down the bus, depending on which way you're building from. So you could have this first splitter say, right, everything go this way, and then the second splitter here doing this, saying, right, well, everything that's now left on these 2 lanes, prioritize going to the top, and then split it. And then the third output, the same principle, you know. This is equally valid. I just find it gets a bit more ugly and a bit more confusing, personally. I've seen people do it like this. The other issue this has is that because inserters grab from the far side of the belt first, or the near side, or whatever it flipping is, I can't remember. What are you asking me for? You tend to find with slower builds, shouldn't have done that, you tend to find with slower builds especially that only this half of the belt is moving forwards, and when you do it like this, you'll find that further on down the line you'll just have loads of half belts. which is fine, because you just lane balance them at the end in the same way, but it's a lot more pronounced when I do this, and my house robots have taken most of that, not my personal robots, that's fine. So let's quickly... we'll balance it on the incoming side, because I also did say I would balance the outputs for this. So let's quickly plop those down as well. I'm going to have a lot of iron and copper on me when I do this. This is the kind of job that's best to do by hand, because when you get robots to remove fully compressed belts, it takes 9 robots. It takes 8. It takes 1 for each of the plates, and well, not necessarily 1 for each of the plates. It depends on what your robot capacity cargo is, plus 1. So it's still going to take you like 5. Whereas obviously just picking it up by hand is very quick. Alright, let's get the old lane balancer book out. A 4-4 in yellow, please. Not a long one. I like a short, fat one. Where is it? Why? No? Where is it? Where's it gone? There it is. Nice. So this is a lane balancer as well, so you avoid that problem I was talking about with the belts pulling off from one side. Yes, I said pulling off again. House robots will be bringing in those undergrounds and splitters that it took from me before. And there is just enough space here on the bus with these 2 spaces here to put that down. But that does mean that the next one has to be slightly shifted, but it's okay. I mean, it's not okay. The lack of symmetry is going to bug me, but... Hello? And then the house robots go, oh wait, I don't need to do that job anymore, and they go back. We really have to tidy this up at some point, but it's fine. And then I can just bung that there as well. Could have gone 1 tile further in, but it's fine. It's fine. Right. The target for the base is 75 science per minute to start with, which is not very much. But it will still require 8 red belts of iron, 8 red belts of copper, at least 3, I think it is, belts of green circuits, and so on. So I'm definitely going to need to add more smelting here with 2 more lanes, probably go on this side, so that iron and copper can come either this way or this way easily. I would just have to be mindful of not putting, you know, more than 4 lanes of iron production on this side, because then, but you know, it is fine. They did it. So let's do a bad thing here and take a whole bunch of electric circuits off the belt so that we can see things start to move here. They take from the inside, of course they do. This is also overproduced, I think you'll find. I think this is actually outputting more than 1 yellow belt of circuits. Yeah, it is, it's 1.2. I just wanted some resiliency for when I upgrade to red belts. So you can see here how only like 1/2 of the belt is moving, because all of the inserters are only taking from that half of the belt. But because we're producing so much more iron than we're currently using, we're not really noticing anything. Look, that's full up already, so... Alright. Thank you so much for watching my video about solar panels and some basic bus management. I will endeavour to do some solar panels off stream. The power looks good, it does look good, but that is because the whole base is just completely stationary. We're not doing any science anymore. Everything is fully backed up. Even the solar panels and accumulators have gone back up to 500. Like, how long did that take? Solar. I took them out of the chest here. It made a whole bunch, and the chest was full about half an hour later. This is minutes down here, so about 37 minutes ago, I took 500 solar panels out of the chest. 6 minutes ago it was full. So it took about half an hour to fill that. And we didn't even, like, that's fine. So that's quite good. I can go ham on some solar panels to add some resiliency to this fiasco, which is also in the way of where I wanted to bring the iron in. But there's a sort of really tasty looking iron thing here. Maybe I'll just bring it in entirely from here. Bring it in like this, except like this, because I want my steel to be here. That will involve a lot of landfill. I don't know if I have that much landfill. I'd have to landfill most of this. But we'll look at it. I mean, it's definitely something worth looking at, because it's 7.7 million and I haven't even exposed the other half. Like, if it's like this, that could easily be 10 million. That would last us a very long time. A very, very long time. And then this just can stay there, I guess. And then I wouldn't have to worry about doing the train network tutorial, because this would just be on its own. And then maybe I could, because I'm going to have to bring oil in somewhere as well, and I haven't found another oil spot on the map. Oil is definitely, after steel, is definitely the next thing we want, possibly to be here. Oh, I keep pressing Y, sorry, I should just turn that off. I suppose it will depend on where we next find a decent oil supply. If I come down here and tap this and put a radar down and there's oil like here, then I guess oil is going there. But we'll have to see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. As always, any questions, anything I skimmed over, anything you want a bit more explained, feel free to ask me in the comments and I will reply to you in the next video. If possible, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.